When it comes to portraiture, Ektar 100 usually isn't the first film people reach for. Anytime I've seen a review, there's some mention about the saturation adding too much red to people's skin tones, and while I have seen examples of this online, that's seldom been my experience with the film. Ektar is actually my preferred film for portraiture over portrait, especially when it comes to shooting family and friends. As I mentioned in my Women's March video, I always felt that portrait muted darker skin tones too much for my liking. So to give you all some examples, today I'm teaming up with Audey Thunders Clothing, run by my good buddy Lizz, for something of a punk fashion shoot.
Liz, what happened?
The squirrel took my candy.
Lizz handmakes all her clothing, sometimes upcycling old clothing and giving them new life, other times creating entirely new items from scratch, but always preferring to work with people of color when it comes to photo shoots to represent her brand. That's something I've always respected her for, and it's perfect for today's video just to give you all some example of how this film handles non-white skin tones. And to make things more interesting, I challenged myself with just one rule of film. So stick around to the end for a few thoughts and tips. For now, let's move on to the video. Ektar 100 paired with my usual 81 and 50mm combo. Roll it. Against that a little bit without dying.
Where does the matter?
It's always the pretense, don't die.
So we're closer.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, as long as we're closer. Oh no, me papada!
Alright, behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Well, you're gonna edit it, right?
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, edit my papada, man.
No, you're fine.
Cameras always put me like
when you shoot from a high angle, you can't see anything then. I learned. I fucked up with my own selfie.
Oh, that footwork.
Let's see.
It's a pocket.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. That's probably not better, actually. Yeah, there you go. After that, keep that pose. Move a little now. As usual, special thank you to everyone sticking around to the end. I know I said last week I'd probably be skipping this week's upload, but I've had a few of you reach out on Instagram and drop a couple comments on some past videos, so I thought, what the hell. Yeah, in case you didn't notice, I'm super tired while recording this. I'm in between shifts and got almost zero sleep last night, but who needs rest when you got Vietnamese coffee and a few DMs about upping the punks. Seriously though, I appreciate you all. If you'd like to come out and support Lizz after watching this, she'll be vending and putting on a fashion show at the Museum in Anaheim for their celebration of Chicano culture. This takes place on April 13th, so check it out if you're in the area and want to support your local artist. I might be dropping by if I can get the day off, but I just wanted to drop that plug since she's been doing some awesome work. On to Ektar 100. As you might have already guessed, this is most definitely my favorite film if I have to shoot color. There's just a real life to it that I don't get from portrait. Not to say it's better, that's just my personal preference. I'll be saving the bulk of my review for a more in-depth video, but suffice it to say I think this film has an undeserved reputation when it comes to portrait work. I'm Of course, basing this off my own experience with this film. So take it for what it's worth, but anytime I've run into issues with Ektar and the dreaded skin tones, it's been due to some underexposure on my part. Some of which I did include in this video for transparency's sake. As I said, I don't normally have that happen since I tend to overexpose a bit and use a light meter whenever possible. And while I know those are a bit expensive, I think it's worth the investment if you're shooting film, especially if you plan on shooting older cameras without meters. You can always use a third-party app on your phone, which I did for today's shoot, since Ektar isn't really forgiving when it comes to underexposure. Kyle McDougall has a great video on this film, a link here, where he tests the exposure limits of Ektar 100. So if you want a more controlled example, give that video a watch. I also recommend Eric's in-depth review of this film, link again, if you haven't already seen it. I'm gonna wrap this video up now since I am tired as all hell, and I wanna finish editing this in time for Friday's release. So if you're watching this and see me around San Francisco that weekend, feel free to say hi. Also, just because these got dropped off today, I'm selling prints now. So feel free to pick them up on my website and support the channel. It may not seem like a lot, but even if just one of you buys something, it would seriously help. So thank you again to everyone watching. Subscribe, like, comment with your favorite shot if you're so inclined, or just leave your thoughts on this shoot or Ektar in general below. Until the next video, get some sleep and chase that light.